Greetings. I am Deborah Sadler, and I am the author of the trilogy Words of the Temple, A New Humanity, a positive cosmic perspective on events that have been taking place since 2020. And this video is for entertainment purposes only. In this trilogy, I write about the precession of the equinoxes. It's a 26,000 year cycle. And we're at the end of a 26,000 year cycle where the sun goes through all 12 signs of the zodiac. It takes 26,000 years for the sun to go through all 12 signs of the zodiac, just like it takes 365 days for the earth to go around the sun and go through all 12 signs of the zodiac. We are at the birth of a brand new beginning for Earth Mother. And the precession of the equinoxes is a 26,000 year cycle. And at the beginning point of the new cycle, we are lined up with the equinox of the galaxy. And so we are at a point where we are lined up with the center of the galaxy. And we are moving from 13,000 years in the dark, in the shadow, into actually ascension status, moving into the light. We have a 36-year window from 1994 to 2030 to get from the shadow to the light, to move from dark energy to light energy. And the midpoint of this 36-year window, when the sun was absolutely lined up exactly with the center of our galaxy, was 12/21/2012. That is the end of the Mayan calendar. The indigenous knew about these cycles, and they knew there would be a brand new beginning on 12/21/2012. And Cryon, who I use and weave his work throughout the trilogy, is channeled by Lee Carroll, and he is a loving, angelic entity from the other side of the veil who is here to help us understand the bigger picture of what is taking place. And since 2012, there has been a great awakening on our planet. And before that even. On 2012, the light-dark quotient shifted from favoring the dark to favoring the light. In other words, suddenly there was more light than dark. And we are in the middle of a light-dark battle. And the dark is fighting for its life because it is fading into the past. We are no longer in shadow energy. On 12/21/2012, we moved into the light, and we moved into unity consciousness, and we moved into an era of compassion. And we are leaving behind separation consciousness, we are leaving behind cruelty, and we are leaving behind the dark running our lives. And you can see that in the United States of America, we have been taken over by the dark. And so many of our citizens have been manipulated by these dark forces. And now they are seeing the light. They are seeing that they have been backing dark energy. And that now that dark energy is turning on them. And there is a lot of fear. And for those of us who had moved into the light, moved into fifth dimensional energy, we're like going, man, we could see this coming. And it's so interesting to hear the supporters of the shadow side say, this isn't what I expected. Well, it's exactly what your candidate told you. Your candidate told you everything that your candidate was going to do. The little part about his partner was maybe kind of a secret, but otherwise he told you everything he was going to do, and he was going to do it cruelly, and he was going to do it as an authoritarian, and he was going to stick it to people, and he was going to divide, and he was going to separate, and he was going to conquer. And now all of a sudden people are like, oh, I don't like this. This isn't what I expected. This isn't what I thought. I didn't believe what he said. He never says he never does what he says. So here we are. But here's the good news. And if you read my trilogy, you will see all of the systems and mechanisms that were put in place by our Pleiadian star parents who came 200,000 years ago in case we made it past the marker of 12/21/2012, in case we made it past the marker without destroying ourselves. And we did. We made it past the marker. And we have moved into the light. And many of us are in light consciousness. We are light workers, we are old souls, and we have love in our hearts, and we are all about spreading the light and being the joy and helping people and making the world a world that works for everyone. And I look at those who supported the dark, and they seem to not have been paying attention to anything the dark was telling them. They seem to have not heard a word that the dark told them was going to be the agenda. And you know what I see happening? I see these folks awakening. I see them awakening and going, you know what? I don't like this. I don't want this. This is not what I voted for. This is not what I thought would be the result. And they are turning on the dark. And it's not just a person or people, it's an energy. And they are awakening to the truth that they have been deceived and they have been manipulated. And that itself is an awakening because they have been denying that while we've been nicely and politely pointing that out to them. And this blood moon that we just went through with the full eclipse, release, 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 release. And so many of us went into the 2024 November 5th election as awakened souls. And we voted for an agenda that was to create a world that works for everyone, where everyone would have their needs met. Not just those in a certain group, but everyone. And many went and just voted for the dark anyway. And now that the dark is showing itself to be the dark, they're in shock. And quite frankly, they should really just go inside and admit that they've been conned, that there's been a master manipulator, and they got caught up in the master manipulation. And now they are dropping out. They are no longer part of that cult. They are leaving the cult one by one. And what's available to them? Being in the light, being in love, being in joy. How about prosperity? We had the best economy in this globe 7 weeks ago, but we don't anymore. And you think this is just an accident? You think they're just like doing this by mistake? They're doing this totally intentionally. This is a hostile takeover, not only of our country, but of the world. If they can destroy our economies, then they can take over. We're all too weak to be able to stand up for ourselves. This is a plan by the dark to make sure we do not rise into an ascended status as humanity and as an earth, because our earth is moving into ascended status just as we are. And so I am glad to see that many of our fellow citizens are waking up. However, we need to get together and we need to jettison this group of thieves that potentially includes the election itself. And we have to hold them accountable. And how do we do that? We use people power. Because Pluto went into Aquarius on November 20th, 2024, and it will be there for 20 years. Pluto is blowing everything up. And Aquarius is for the sake of humanity. The Aquarian age is where we all honor everyone on this planet, and we come together and meet everyone's needs. And I've talked before on videos about the irony of them coming and blowing up all the humanitarian things we have in place. When the reality is we're just going to be adding to the humanitarian things in place. And so, it's tough to wake up. It's tough to find that you were worked, that you were used, and now you're being abused. And so we just need to know that as we come together in unity as one humanity to create a world that works for everyone, we can eliminate the dark in the blink of an eye. So to those folks who have been in the cult, who are waking up, God bless you. And we understand that we have been in the dark for eons. And so you have grace because it's been all we knew. But we need to have those of you who have supported the dark, cheered for the dark, rallied for the dark, to wake up and realize it's just dark energy and it's not what we want on the planet anymore. And it doesn't serve you, and it doesn't serve me, and it doesn't serve us. So come over here to the light. It's all based on love, joy, ease, grace, harmony, prosperity, abundance, opulence, all of the good things in life. We need to unite energetically and just jettison this old dark energy from the planet. And how do we do that? We do it by being loving and kind and caring and compassionate. And if we practice these practices daily, these folks will be gone in the blink of an eye. So come on over to the light. Come over here where the joy is. We don't worry. We don't complain. We don't call people names. We don't do any of that because that is old energy and it's ugly and it no longer has a purpose. So thank you for those who are waking up. Come over here with us and let's have a big party as we celebrate the renewal of this country to leadership that is deserving of our support. Everyone, have a great week.